It's the Daily Dog.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Daily Doug. I am thankful that you are here today. Today, we're talking politics. We're going to take a break from the reaction videos. Please don't leave. I think this is interesting, and I think that, I'm sure I haven't heard very many people speak about what I'm about to speak about in a specific way, and it's just my way of trying to read the tea leaves and try to find a through line to be of help. That's all I'm coming from today. So there was a letter, a handwritten letter, posted by the New York Times today that was sent to Representative Adam Kinzinger's dad, his family. This is a handwritten note written by members of his own family that was sent to his dad, and to make sure his dad got it, they paid extra to the post office to make sure, like certified letter, he got it or something like that. Anywho, I found this letter that was just released today to be fascinating and quite revelatory. I want to read it to you and then say some things along the way that are interesting to me. So it starts out, it's in cursive, it's handwritten. It covers almost 2 pages. It's dated January 8th, and it's addressed to Adam Kinzinger. By the way, if you don't know who Adam Kinzinger is, he is a current serving Republican congressperson from the state of Illinois. This is in direct response to his voting to support the impeachment of Donald Trump in the aftermath of the attacks on the Capitol. So this is from some of his family members to him. It says, Adam, oh my, what a disappointment, 3 underscores, disappointment you are to us and to God. That's how they start. You're not just a disappointment to us, you're a disappointment to God Almighty. And they go on, we were once so proud of your accomplishments. Instead, you go against your Christian principles and join the devil's army, which they call the Democrats and the fake news media. How do you even call yourself a Christian when you join the devil's army believing in abortion? We thought you were just smart. We thought you were smart enough to see how the left is brainwashing so many so-called good people. Including yourself and many other GOP members. You have even fallen for their socialism ideals. So sad. So right off the bat, what this reveals to me is a truism that I've seen in the Republican Party, or Republicans in general, for as long as I've been paying attention. I was born in 1977. I was paying attention to political rhetoric even as a kid. It was fascinating to me. I was in high school in the early 90s. I graduated in 95, and I had a bunch of friends in high school who are normal, loving, great people, but whose parents were Republicans. And when they came of age, they started listening to the stuff their parents listened to. They were listening to Rush Limbaugh and Bill O'Reilly at the time, and all these guys, and starting to just get militarized against Democrats. And I didn't understand it, because when I listened to Rush Limbaugh and the like, I was like, these guys are full of shit, like completely full of shit. Why are these people putting so much stock into what these snake oil people are saying? It doesn't make any sense to me. So it's been a life's fascination of me, and they kind of play their hand here. So the next, we're talking about abortion, because we're going to get there. They go on, President Trump is not perfect, but neither are you or any of us for that matter. It is not for us to judge or be judged, but he, meaning President Trump, is a Christian. And then they say, if God can forgive and use King David in the Bible, he can do the same with President Trump. Franklin Graham, Robert Jeffers, just to name a few of many pastors who mentor President Trump, know that he is a believer. Obviously, you did not hear President Trump's Christian message to the American people. Fake news media did not cover his message, where he actually gave the plan of salvation, instructing people how to repent and ask the Savior into their heart to be born again. And then they say in parentheses, to believe in John 3:16. Then they say, when was the last time you proclaimed your faith, Adam? Oh, we forget you now belong to the devil's army. You won't convince us otherwise with your horrible, rude accusations of President Trump. Then they say, to embrace a party that believes in abortion and socialism is the ultimate sin. We should list even more of your grievances against you, but decided you are not worth more of our time to list them. We have said enough. So it's amazing, right? I'm not even done with it. It's amazing, right? I mean, how many of us have ever gotten a manifesto like that from one of our own family members? It's, I feel sad for him because this guy is an actual, like, real Republican. He's on record being like voting against the Affordable Care Act and saying it's like this major like increase in government power and against freedom and all this sort of stuff, and when it's like the most market-based solution that could have actually been ever done to try to fix our healthcare system. It was the ACA was the most right-wing way to try to fix our healthcare system, and the right-wingers were like, nope, right? But they've said this a few times. They mention abortion, right? But they've said this in 2, maybe 3 paragraphs that this guy is now part of the devil's army. That's what they think of Democrats. So my whole point to this is that for 30, 40 years, Republicans have been fighting a holy war. And Democrats have not been. Why do Republicans think that Democrats are part of the devil's army? In my opinion, it is solely based on the abortion issue. What happened was that the Republican establishment took an issue like abortion, which is extremely controversial, right? And nuanced and all that sort of stuff, and made it a black and white issue, and basically said, if you are pro-choice, you cannot be a Christian. And people believed that. And what they did was they fused this approach to faith with an approach to a political ideology. And it took people that consider themselves to be open-minded and caring and empathetic and loving, all that sort of stuff. And it was like a dictating membrane, like just came over them like they were under a spell. And even though they didn't feel like they had changed at all, these people would never vote for a Democrat again, like ever. What was put forth was like, if you're a person of faith and you are taught to believe that abortion is murder, then, and that anybody, and you're taught that the political party that stands for pro-life in their view is the only way to live out your faith in accordance with God, so that you are not sacrificing or endangering your path to heaven. So these people want to go to heaven, they want to do right by God, and they have been indoctrinated or taught that you have to be a Republican in order to attain that. And that the other side, because they somehow support the killing of kids, must be overtly or fundamentally cracked bad people that are working on behalf of Satan. And over 30 or 40 years, we are where we are today, right? Take Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell's actions with the just recently with the end of the impeachment trial. Yes, there was another impeachment trial, and so it was painfully obvious that what had happened, and that Donald Trump is mostly responsible for all of this. Mitch McConnell came out and said, I'm not going to vote to convict him, although he is guilty, and use some arcane procedural vote or reason to why he can't do that. And people are like, they can't understand how he's talking out of both sides of his mouth. And people keep thinking, hypocrite, hypocrite, hypocrite. Why? You can't have it both ways. He's not actually having it both ways, y'all. Mitch McConnell has been operating for decades under one primary axiom, that anything he does in his capacity as majority, minority leader, or just a Republican senator is to never, ever, ever do anything politically that can possibly give the Democratic Party a win or an edge or more credibility, or at the same time cause the Republicans to have less credibility or less power or less authority. That's it. And that's why he did what he did with the Merrick Garland thing. It's why he did all of those judges the way that he did them. It's why he felt like he could put Amy Coney Barrett on the Supreme Court right during the build up to the election. And it's why he, even though he knows Trump is guilty as shit, that he wouldn't do it. Right? Because if he votes if he votes to convict President Trump, then he's giving the Democrats a win. And if he gives the Democrats a win, that means the Republicans have less authority. And that means the Republicans are losing the holy war. And I'm not a good Christian because I allowed the Democrats to get a win, and I have sacrificed my own salvation. It's like a Russian doll that's got all of these nested lies that's built into them. And all of them go back to this thing that's Democrats are evil. We can't let them have anything. And it's irrational because at its core, the pro-life argument on abortion is a morality argument that largely I agree with. I think it's, I believe in life. I believe in God. I believe in a lot of the same stuff that they believe in, but they think that the Democrats are having an argument with them on morality, and they're not. Democrats are the pro-life argument is a legal or a government-based response argument versus a moral argument, and people are just talking past themselves. And nobody can get anything done. The whole point of this, I'm 13 minutes in, sorry, I'll wrap up. The whole point of this is that my suggestion to Democrats, to the entire country, is that we have to do nothing else but fix this issue, this abortion issue, because it's the reason why Donald Trump has 30 to 40% of support still, because that's about the same amount of people in the country that believe abortion's murder. We have to figure out how to agree on this issue so that it doesn't artificially separate people into different camps and have them talking past each other. Otherwise, nothing gets done. And when that just flows on one on top of the other for decades and decades and decades, going back to the mid-'80s, we end up with a highly dysfunctional government that hasn't addressed the problems that we have, or the problems that are coming down the pike. And the longer we are inept to solve those problems, the more that the remedies for those problems get larger and more expensive. And people get even more scared of the responses that are needed to combat the issues that we have. Republicans have been fighting a holy war. They think Democrats are in league with the devil. And the Democrats, in return, have a blind eye, and they think that they're just trying to be bipartisan and nice. And the Republicans will take every inch that they can, because, again, the primary goal is to just be in opposition to the Democratic Party. That's their primary motive. That's why they didn't even need a platform when Trump ran in 2016. All that they needed to know was, we're on this side, we're against those people who, by the way, are in league with the devil. And it's frightening because it's irrational, and you can't have a rational argument with an irrational person. I have said this before on this channel. It's really sad. They finish up here. They say, you should be very proud that you have lost the respect of Lou Dobbs, Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, Greg Kelly, etc., and most importantly, in our book, Mark Levin and Rush Limbaugh and us. It is now most embarrassing to us that we are related to you. You have embarrassed the Kinzinger family name. This is cruel, y'all. And it also shows that, a lot of people think that the media is to blame for all of this, for separating people. Like, left wingers have their media and right wingers have their media, and nobody listens to each other, and that's why. It's actually not, in my opinion. I think that the media cycle is there because there was a market of people just waiting for somebody like Rush Limbaugh to tell them that they were right. And when Rush came along and supplied the supply, then the market was able to take off, and that's why he's been able to do that so much. The people were radicalized to believe this stuff before Rush Limbaugh was syndicated. The syndication of Rush Limbaugh in 87 and the launching of Fox News in 1995, and then all the internet shows that have come forth have just jumped on the bandwagon to give these people the affirmation that they're on the right side, in a way that doesn't challenge them and allows them to keep their guard up, right? So the conversation that I want to have with Republicans, that I think Democrats need to have with Republicans, like now, like this year, is we need to solve this. We need to solve this. We're not on the opposite side of you. There's most Democrats that I know. I don't know anybody who likes abortion. Nobody. Absolutely none. So for these people to think of this guy, for his own family to think that this very conservative Republican congressman, how do you call yourself a Christian when you join the devil's army believing in abortion? When they hear that somebody is pro-choice, they think they are endorsing abortion. It's not that. It's that we understand how that would look. What would it actually look like, y'all, to ban abortion? It would. That's another conversation for a much longer, for a different time. But my main point is that Republicans have been pushing pro-life as a moral argument, thinking that the other side is immoral, and we have been pushing this government solution or constitutional argument, not realizing that they're only talking about morality and they really don't care anything about how the government works, because this is a party that fundamentally is against government. Right? So or government working to help us, it seems. So we're at this crossroads and nothing has gotten done. It keeps getting worse, and it's gotten even to the point where an American president could telegraph for months that I'm going to lose, but when I lose, it's going to be rigged. And two, after he lost, he's like, I didn't actually lose, they rigged it. And then get people so riled up that they don't have any other choice but to react in these explosive ways. I feel sad, real empathetic sadness for my Republican friends. You've been fed irrational, wrong data for decades, and out of your need to have anything that validates your opposition to the Democrats, no matter what the Democrats are doing, is adopted to insulate yourself, to make yourself think that you're still a Christian and empathetic and loving and normal, right? And the more that this gets separated like this, the more interesting and outlandish things have to be invented for you to continue to feel good about yourself. And after 30, 40 years, a party whose only real reason for existing is to be in direct opposition to a party that upholds democracy and the Constitution, is for your party to become anti-democratic and anti-constitutional. And that's where we're at. We have to fight this, not at the top level where we're just bickering back and forth. We have to go to the root of why these people feel this way and why they allow, we have to break apart the real big lie that the healthcare procedure known as abortion cannot be treated as murder in a country that is free and constitutional, a republic who treats women as equals to men and who values privacy of our citizens and the freedom of religion. We cannot continue to function this way, or America will crumble, or will finally crumble to nothingness. We're already in a free fall. It's sad to me, but that's where I'm coming from. They finish out, we are not judging you. This letter is our opinion of you, right? When you're an irrational person who at some fundamental level takes mythology and embeds it as ironclad fact without the ability to ever corroborate it or objectively analyze it and put it through tests to see if it's true or not, when you're a person that allows a myth to become ironclad fact, then you become more susceptible to allowing other things that are not provable to become ironclad facts. And the main thing that Ted Cruz said on the floor of the Senate that day was that, well, 75 million people think this way, we can't be wrong. Yeah, you can. You guys are all wrong. You're all wrong. You have been wrong. And the liberals and the rest of society have just lost our patience over 20, 30, 40 years of continuously trying to give you the benefit of the doubt and to have rational arguments just to see you push the football down the field and, like Lucy in the Peanuts cartoon, just pull it away and continue to be irrational and let us play the charade. Democrats, it is time. We have to have this conversation with your families, with your people who believe this stuff, and just ask them, how would it work? How would it work? How would your utopian government actually work? And then keep asking questions. And the more they try to explain it, the more they'll realize that you cannot ban this procedure, this healthcare procedure, and expect our healthcare system to actually work. If the goal of our healthcare system is to treat people and provide healthcare services to people in the most efficient and humane way we can. There are many of you who, if you have listened this far, will not agree with me. That's okay. But I think you'll agree that on the sole construct of what separates the both sides, it's really comes down to that. And I'm afraid for the future of America. And I hope we can start having these conversations and moving forward. It's a damn shame that this guy, I mean, I don't like Adam Kinzinger. I think his policies are completely outside of reality. But he's a conservative Republican, and his own family, when he said, yes, Donald Trump said all of these things, he incited this riot, he should be impeached. His own family called him part of the devil's army and are basically excommunicating themselves from him. This is where they are. It's real, y'all. It's absolutely real. I am sorry for going on for so long. I go into these thinking that I'll just do this for 5 minutes, but I'm a college professor. I ended up talking for way too long. But this is my platform to do so. These are my thoughts. So it's just what's on my mind today. Whew, heavy stuff. Thanks for being with me, and thanks for tuning in. This has been today's Daily Doug.